One thing that I always find funny is Superman, how he's unrecognizable with his glasses, right? Now, how do you feel
Hmm.
about Superman's disguise being just a pair of glasses? I have to ask that because at the end of Man of Steel, when Henry Cavill walks in and he talks to Lois and she's like, "Oh, welcome to the Daily Planet." And he's like, "Thanks, Lois, glad to be here." How does no one know that he's Superman? Did you ever like question that?
All the time. We laughed about it constantly when I was working. I was like, well, I'm glad that you have your cape on so that I'm totally confused as to who you are and know the glasses. And yeah, we laughed about it a lot. But that was part of what is so great about it. What's so fun about it is that there is that cheesy kind of quality to it that makes no sense. This is a guy that also has superpowers and can do all these other crazy things. So I think you got to fully embrace it, and that's kind of what I did. Although we did have some laughs about it now and again, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, it's a fun fact. You might know this, so but if you don't, it'd be a good fun fact to learn is that because my dad's a big comic book nerd, right? So he has these old comics, and it was only in a few of them where when Clark Kent becomes Superman, he would
Mm-hmm.
shake really fast where you couldn't make out his face. So that was also how he kind of hid himself from being
Oh,
Clark Kent.
neat.
Did you ever know about that or?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad
Yeah,
was
I
telling
guess
me
he would
because I
have
asked him
found
that
it
too. I was
difficult.
yeah.
He probably would have found it difficult to try to figure out how to show that. It's different when it's in,
A
we're
comic
reading
or something.
something in our imagination, but it's a much, much more interesting thing. It's very cool, actually.
Yeah,
No, I
because
didn't. That's cool.
yes, yeah. Like, I was asking my dad. I'm like, Dad, like, did they ever explain that in the comics? He's like, well, yeah. Funny enough, like in a few of them, he goes, they didn't really dive too deep into it, but he goes, in a couple, they tested it where, yeah, like, he vibrates really, really fast, and I was like, but like, yeah, and I said the same thing you did. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess in the movies, if they had to do that, it would look silly at that point, because then it's like you just see him and he's just like
Yeah,
moving
I
like
mean, how
that
could you take anything he's saying seriously?
at that
But
point.
that's also like another level of why there's so much beauty in books as well. Like we love the visual medium. I make my living on that. I understand that. But there's so much that you can do with your own imagination when you're sitting down and reading a book and the things that they just can't translate over. They can't. I
Yeah,
mean, some movies have certainly done it, but very few, I think, in my opinion.